All right, Jada. So why don't you tell us what kind of mental health professional you are?
Awesome. Um, so it's two things. I am a psychiatric physician assistant as well as a licensed professional therapist.
Okay.
And I kind of do both. I do medication management and therapy adjunct in my private practice. So I combine the work of a psychiatrist and a therapist in one visit.
Got it. Okay. And so tell me about your idea for your program.
So I have a program that I started, and the idea stems from like my whole philosophy is understanding the integration of mind and body together. And as a holistic mental health provider, I want people to understand that there's tools that they can use that anybody can use, like nutrition and movement and meditation and learning how to love yourself as the foundation of not only mental health, but physical health, and that they're together. And we need to use them together to elevate mental health. And um, so I've created like courses where I kind of teach people these things. And I created a membership, which I just started, and it's this idea of kind of like a mental health membership where, you go to the gym and work on your body. This is a mental health membership where you get tools and support to work on your mental health, but also it improves your physical health as well.
And so this course is like low price courses, two, $300, that kind of stuff.
There's a couple different things. The membership is $77 a month. So it's equivalent to like what a gym membership would be for, like gym services. I have courses that you can just take on your own, which are a couple $100. And then I have like a 4 month long course, which I walk alongside you. And that's more in the three to $4,000 range, depending on how
Okay.
much um, time you want of my personal time.
And what is the offer? How are you actually articulating this to people?
See, that's where it's tricky, and that's where I get confused because part of part of what I've heard in marketing, and it's so different being a health professional where people just come to you, and now being like an entrepreneur where you've got to market yourself. This is a whole new arena to play in, and there's the saying that if you speak to everyone, you're speaking to no one.
Yep.
And I feel that that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking mostly to women, but I'm saying, oh, okay, here's this whole mental health thing, but I don't really know who I'm speaking to. And so the marketing message is really this basis of learning how to love yourself as the jumping point for wellness and,
Understood. Okay.
you know, helping people learn how to remove the barriers to loving themselves so they can feel better.
Have you had help in producing this material already?
Did you say help?
Yeah. Have you worked with different mentors and things like this already?
I have. I've worked with a couple different, two mentors. One really was more like an idea manifesting person, like really work on yourself, which was awesome, and that's great. We all need to work on ourselves, and I need to embody what I teach, so that was great. But I haven't really had any business coaching. And that's where I feel like I don't have enough knowledge. Like I
Yeah.
know how to do what I do, but I
Yeah.
don't know how to put on the business hat and be the business person to market it in a way that resonates. That's where I'm getting stuck is the business part of it.
So this is what's happening. If I can be direct,
Yeah.
what a lot of the time I see a lot of people doing is they try to copy what other people are doing. And so, they'll start with, well, maybe I need to do a course. And so they go and they do a course. And then, well, maybe it'd be a better business model if I do a membership, and they go and do the membership. And there's a lot of work that goes into producing this stuff. And there's a lot of swearing at course platforms and things like this, trying to get all this stuff online.
Right.
And it becomes this very all consuming side project. But what you're doing is sort of looking at what other people have out there, and then kind of just saying, well, I'm going to try and do this, my own version of this. And the danger is we don't always know what some of the successful people, what's going into why they're offering things. And so sometimes what we do is we'll launch something at a low price, because we see a lot of courses and things out there already. Now, generally speaking, selling low ticket is is a difficult concept because you need to have a way of doing volume. So somebody who already has a large following can put something out there that's low ticket. Ranging from, I don't know, Marianne Williamson can do something for a few $100, and it almost doesn't matter what she does because people are going to buy it anyway because she's Marianne Williams. She has that star power, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or and there are some notable exceptions to this, but people who have like 1 million followers who'll put out a course, and you can make money if you have 1 million followers and put out a low ticket course. But when you don't have that following yet, you are stuck because you can't find a way to drive volume. And so the next thing that a lot of people think when they're in your situation is, well, what I need to do is hire a Facebook ad agency. And that becomes a giant toilet for their money. Because what happens next is the Facebook ad agency will say, yes, great, come on in. Here's our upfront fee and here's our monthly fees. And we're going to try and sell this thing for you until you run
Yeah.
out of money trying to promote it. The core problem, though, is when you're selling, like, let's take a look at the membership. It's $77. And what you'll find in subscription programs is a lot of the time you're looking at just a few months retention. I mean, I know some of them are like 90 days, something like that. That's kind of short. I mean, you don't want a 90-day retention, but that's a reality for some membership programs. And so 66 times 3 is like $180. And so you need a way to add people for substantially less than $180 to have this profitable membership, right? And that's pretty tough in today's market to be able to sell a membership at that level. And what a lot of people are doing, and it sounds like you might have sort of picked this up, is you're trying to do low price courses and a membership and then ascend them as like an ascension model into your high ticket program. Is that right?
Yes, like the idea is that, oh, I want more. I
Yeah.
want more. I want to do the deeper work and, and then go into those meatier programs.
So there is a school of thought which is when you sell low ticket, you don't attract people who will pay high ticket rates. You attract people who will pay low ticket rates and then not buy your high ticket program. It's actually not true in all circumstances. You can sell some things, but what at the very least you should expect is to lose money on your low ticket courses with a view to gaining profit through your high ticket if you want to take that kind of model. I'm not sure you want to, but low ticket will be a loss leader just because of the cost of advertising yourself. It will be a loss leader for you. I think that's just the reality at those kinds of rates.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure you want to follow that kind of model. I mean, what I usually tell people is to focus on the high ticket
Yeah.
because instead of selling, for example, let's say that your subscriber retention at $77, let's say it's 8 months. So your total revenue is $616 over those 8 months from that subscriber, and you're recouping that over 8 months, right? So let's just say that's an average, really, really generous average there. And you want to make like 20 grand a month. So 20 divided by hang on. So 77 times 8 is $616 in total revenue. 20,000 divided by 616 equals 32. So you're looking to sell, like, to get people into that. That's if it is 8 months, you have to sell like 10 or 15 new members per month. It's doable with organic traffic. But if it's 3 months, you have to sell a lot more than that. You see? So your subscriber retention is kind of like your unknown there, which is tough. What I would do if I were you is I would focus on putting together one offer, which is as you said, $3,500 to $4,000, something like that. Just one single offer with, they don't choose how much time you spend with them. You prescribe the solution that is right for them. And that's that one thing that you're selling. And put a lot of what you've developed for your low ticket courses and products into this high ticket offer, but then support the hell out of them every day as they're actually doing it. And so then that pushes the bubble into who would pay $3,500 or $4,000 for something, right? That you're
Mhm.
doing. And this is your next problem, right? And this is probably why you started with the low ticket in the first place. And so it brings you back to articulating an offer, very clear benefit to this one person who will buy your offer. And so I think you have the foundations of what is a medicine, of what you're going to use to actually treat people very well. It sounds like you really understand that. We have to be able to put this into a package, and what we have to give it is a tangible end result.
Yeah.
So a tangible end result is different from what a lot of mental health professionals would say as an end result. Because for a lot of mental health professionals, they feel better, they're happier, right?
Right.
But selling feel better and happier for $3,500 to $4,000, it sounds like snake oil,
It
right?
does.
Now, what was coming to me, and we have to take a look at, what's legal for you with your different professional credentials there.
Yeah.
But let me test the water a little bit with it. What if it was high flying professional people with some kind of mental health issue going on, which is like a chronic, they always have it. And what you're presenting is a natural way of optimizing themselves so they can perform despite this diagnosis. Like it could be somebody who's perhaps, because they're neurodivergent in some way, they're a highly intelligent person who can
Yeah.
achieve a whole lot, but they're looking for alternative ways to actually manage themselves. How
Yeah.
would your medicine fit into that?
It would. And that I've thought about kind of marketing two things. Speaking to that professional, because you're right, like there's so many people who are in this hustle culture of go, 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 drive, drive, drive. And what I'm prescribing is to get in the slow lane. Like there are some things that you can do that are going to cultivate you allowing to actually perform your job better if you learn how to, let's say, meditate or journal or learn what it is to take what you may see as perceived limitations like ADHD or anxiety or depression and learn how to manage that and have emotional regulation so that you can perform. And I would say like in life better, but it might be better to niche it a little bit and to
Mm-hmm.
say, your job or your job is this. And so that's one train of thought. I
Yeah,
haven't done that specifically. And the other thought would be even trying to market to more like small businesses and be like a mental health consultant, and have even my membership be like their wellness program that they offer their employees and kind of have that be, because I've already got that going, it would be kind of easy to have a business come in, set up a whole landing page for that business and let me be the rollout for their wellness, because I'm also a personal trainer. So I've got the personal training, I've got the medicine background, and I've got the therapy background. So I kind of have all these spokes to the wheel that I could bring to a company. So I kind of don't know if I should even consider doing something like that. I just don't know if that's viable. I don't know how to even do that. um, but I
yeah,
think the professional arm would be a good way to go.
sure. I think you hit the nail on the head with both of them. So if you want to go with professional people with a diagnosis, could the fact that you're a counselor make that unviable if you're taking people from out of state and they're coming to you with some kind of thing like autism or something that's in the DSM? That would be a no-no for you. Is that right?
Well, right. As a coach, like I don't, yes, like
Okay.
I can't like I don't want to treat them as a therapist,
So
you
let's
know.
take that and put it to one side because you could be mistaken for treating these conditions because
Right,
you are a therapist, even though you have a coaching program, it's in the DSM, you start getting into a muddy area, and then it
right.
starts to depend on what state you're in. Because some states actually have a much more liberal view, so long as there's clarity about what you're doing. Whereas
Mm,
other states will say, no, it's in the DSM-5, do not do that. It's a coaching program
right,
and take somebody out of state. Digital. It's a digital
right.
no. Um, so it really does depend. But if you want to do this and actually offer it to businesses, you have a very distinct advantage, which is that you have the licensed professional. Is LPC? Is that
Mhm.
you have that behind you? You have this deep understanding because a business, when somebody's hiring somebody to come into their business, they need what's called cover, i.e., well, I mean, she's the most licensed and most credentialed person I could find that actually offers this. And so they, if something goes wrong, they didn't
Right,
make a bad decision. It's just it
right.
went wrong, right? So if you're combining the physical, the personal training with the mental health optimization piece, and you're able to put that into a digital program, and you're able to provide the physical training piece as a to all levels, be it somebody who is 300 pounds and has not worked out in 2 decades, down to the person who has actually got a pretty good workout, and for now their company's offering this, and they decided to participate in it for the next little while. Is that something that you could do?
I think so. I think the hard part about doing the whole physical aspect of it was that, I don't necessarily want to do like workout videos and like here's your workout routine, but like a beginner to 5K kind of,
Mm-hmm.
thing, for sure. I mean, I also coach people for athletics. I'm a triathlon coach too. So I do have like that coaching background, like literal coaching, like I'll
Mm-hmm.
help you like do this race. But so I could do something like that.
So
I
how do
think
we
what I've
make it
always thought
interesting
is
for
keeping
you?
it mental.
How do we
Sorry.
make this interesting for you then? How do we make this a little bit different for other people? To differentiate you from other people. What if it was that you were giving a physical plan of action at different levels, but at the same time, as they're actually doing that, you're also teaching concepts for mental health optimization? I mean, what are you? Is that something you could put together so that when the person's actually doing the physical practice that you're telling them to do, you're also teaching them and mixing all these concepts in together?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly in my wheelhouse to do.
Uh-huh.
I haven't thought about doing it in that way before. Combining that physical and that mental, but I think that would be it would be awesome. It would be awesome to be able to utilize all the tools to help
Uh-huh.
someone like move their life forward. I mean, that's the whole reason why I want to do this is to help more people. But how is where I'm stuck. Yeah.
Right. Well, this is where I'm going because what I wanted to do was just look for your specific angle. What is the company? Why would it see when you're selling a consulting program, you have two buyers. If you've been around this industry long enough, you've probably heard of the ideal client avatar and doing your ideal client avatar and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when you're selling to a business, you have two. You have the people who are going to use the program. So you have that avatar because if you sell it to a business and it's not used, you're going to get cut pretty fast.
Yeah.
But there's also the buyer. And you have to consider what the buyer wants because it's often different to what the employee wants. You see, the employee's goal might be, I want to lose weight and feel better. But the buyer's goal is actually, I want people to work better.
Right.
There's conflict, there's lack of productivity, there's laziness, there's working at home. There's a bunch of distractions that come with them working at home, and the people just aren't as active anymore. And I think they're spending less time logged in and actually doing their work, and I think they're becoming less healthy. All of these are the things that are happening, but what they're ultimately looking for is staff retention, having good people, being able to attract good people to work in the organization, and
Hmm.
then having fewer people quit. Because when people quit, if that person was a good worker, then there's an enormous cost in actually replacing and getting that person's replacement up and running. It takes a lot of time, and that cost is sometimes like between 50% and 200% of that person's salary just to replace this key player, you see? So, what you're really looking to do is to talk about performance optimization for employees. And then what you want to do is offer it because you're a solo player and there will be these big big companies will have big programs provided by other big companies a lot of the time to actually do this.
Right.
You want to then pick a corporate buyer who is in a company that is looking to buy something, but it is not going to be, for instance, 100,000 employees that you couldn't possibly support. And so you're
Right.
going to be looking for companies that are maybe 25 to 100 employees
Right.
that you can provide the program for. And the way that you actually would go out and do this is not by creating a landing page at all, it's through direct outreach. Because when you do direct outreach, you're actually going to identify targets in companies that you want to work with. And then you're going to reach out and actually pick up the phone, get into their DMs, get into their email inbox personally, saying, this is how I'm going to help to optimize the performance of your employees and make it something that they actually want to participate in and actually want to do. And what you're going to say is, it's probably something you want to talk about brain programming. So you're saying we're going to give them physical exercise, which can be done in 15 to 20 minutes per day and is for all different, and there's different levels of fitness that can do this. From people who just want to walk to people all the way up who want a vigorous exercise routine. Then what we're going to do is we're going to be actually talking them through this. Maybe it's like a private employee only podcast that you create, so it's audio content,
Hmm.
and we're going to be talking them through. And at the same time, I'm going to be teaching them different brain concepts, which are going in as they're doing this exercise. And what we're doing is we're actually changing the brains of your employees to orient them from lethargy and resistance to motivation and a desire for mental wellness. And so when you're selling this to the company, what you're saying is this is a way to optimize your people. And by the way, it doesn't cut into your productivity at all, because this is something that I'm going to prescribe that they do either first thing in the morning or in the evening before they start to settle down in the evening
Yeah.
or at lunchtime. You see? And so it's a win-win for the company because the company is giving the employee benefit, it's having healthier people, it's training people to work better. You're sort of pitching your particular approach as something that could only have been dreamed up by somebody who's not just an expert on the physical body, but an expert on the mind and the brain and the emotions and how they all work together. And that's like your secret sauce. Like, this is why they have to hire you. You're the only one who can provide this because you're the only one with all these different plethoras of credentials, right?
Yeah.
And then and you sell it to the company in such a way that you're speaking to them in their language, which is my people work better, I make more profit, I reduce employee turnover. And that checks the boxes that an HR person would have because that's what they're motivated to do.
Do you think it would be better to kind of spend some time doing that as a marketing effort, or should and I guess it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. I could also have a course that's directed to that high performing executive professional who is burnt out and doesn't even enjoy their life. Like, let me help you learn how to
Mm-hmm.
love yourself and reclaim wellness over here as like an
Yeah.
individual high ticket course. So it could, I mean, is there
You
a
can
way to do
upsell it to the
both?
executives in the companies who are buying this program for their employees and say, and if
Okay.
you'd like to have a separate track for yourself, It's this
Okay.
much more, and it's administered by me personally to you because it's possible that some executives might not feel comfortable doing this with their team there or
Sure.
in front of their team. Others will want to do it with their team very purposefully. But you
Okay.
could keep it as a separate track. But what I don't want you to do is try to sell two distinctly different things at the same time. Because when you try to launch these two things at the same time, you do both half as well.
Right.
I would only make it an upsell or a bolt on to your current.
Okay.
That makes sense?
So the part that I think is hardest is, like you said, the ideal client avatar. I've gone full circle with this, and I think the hardest part is there's a fear of niching down. There's a fear of taking a smaller bite, thinking that that's going to reach fewer people. And so I kind of am like, it's for everybody. But I don't think that that is a message that's landing well.
Well, let's see if this helps. Do you know that I only work with mental health professionals to create
Yes.
coaching? Okay. And does that attract you to me more? Because I actually only work with licensed clinicians instead of
It
anybody
does.
on the
It
street.
does, because you're speaking my language, and
Exactly.
everyone else is like, you don't even know the struggles that I have as a mental health professional trying to do coaching, because it's a different model,
Mhm.
and you don't want to overstep. So yeah, you're exactly right.
Right. It's why you're speaking to me right now. And
Yes.
that works. I could do this program for doctors as well, but
Yeah.
then it would diffuse the message a little bit. And I certainly could do this for anybody who wants to have a coaching program.
Right.
And the problem is that the mental health professionals wouldn't like to be in with those people
Yes.
because
That's
you do
true.
not respect them and because they say things that make your ears hurt and make you want to slap your face and say, never ever say that to somebody. There'll probably be a whole bunch of trauma awareness fighting inside of my community if I let them in. You
Right.
see? So it's the same thing for you. If you're the one who's focused on business and your angle is physical health with brain reprogramming towards mental wellness, you're preaching a very specific message which no personal trainer is out there doing and or is out there and can do credibly compared to you with your background. And what you're also preaching is a message which includes the physical, which is a lot of people are motivated to lose weight. A lot of people are motivated to work out. We all want to get back into our workout routine, right? None of us are doing it as much as we want to be. And so, or at least the most people aren't. And so you have this specific angle there that a mental health professional with no physical training background can't provide it. A life coach isn't as credible as a mental health professional, and a personal trainer who starts talking about brain reprogramming is already out of their element, right? And so you come along with all three of these things. You're speaking the right language to the company. That's why your program will sell, and that's why it's good for you to be niched down in this way because it allows your messaging to work like a laser. You see, when your messaging is too diffuse, people have to do a lot of mental work, which they're not going to do, to actually relate themselves to your solution and their problems to your solution and wonder if it'll work. It
Right.
doesn't work. If it feels like if it feels to the corporate buyer like you made this program specifically to answer their primary concerns and their primary objectives, then you have the sale. You see, that's
Okay.
why niching down works.
So then, what do you think would be like the specific, you have to have like a phrase, or this is your, I don't say tagline, but like if you can't say what you do in one sentence, you're not clear on your messaging.
Yep.
So, and trying to come up with this, maybe I do market just to professionals, professionals and companies. So if I kind of think about, I'm going to be kind of zeroing in on that professional, what do you think it would look like for me to come up with some type of one sentence of what I do that is
Sure.
unique and sets me
Well,
apart?
this usually takes some profiling work before you get to this point.
Okay.
So when I'm shooting from the hip from this, then I probably won't hit it quite on the mark.
Okay.
But if it was the program just for companies, I help companies optimize the bodies and brains. I help companies increase productivity and staff retention by optimizing both the bodies and the brains of their people. Might be one way that you introduce yourself. And see,
I like the
that could be
bodies
just
and
one.
brains. That's kind of nice. The bodies and brains. I haven't,
Mhm.
um,
That might not be the final I help statement, but it's a shot
yeah.
in the right direction. Or if
Okay.
you want to only focus on the premium program for executives,
Right.
then you would probably be doing something like I help executives, or I help business leaders, or I help high achievers, something like that. Um, I I help executives optimize their performance by something their bodies and brains. It's going to be something in there, you see? But it's a
Okay.
very specific thing. I help executives beat burnout and maximize their performance in every area by optimizing their bodies and brains. I help high achievers. I help high achievers reach exponential success without sacrificing any area of their life. You know, or without sacrificing their lives, their families, or their health. You see, there's all different kinds of ways that you can orient that. But what I'm trying to do is orient around the tangible end result, the measurable end result that
Right.
comes from investing in your program, because people are not really buying a program. What they're buying is a result that they want. And so the more that you can sell that result, the more you will sell.
Okay.
That makes
And that
sense?
makes sense. And right now, part of it is what drives people, money and love, right? Like that people want more money, people want more love.
Yeah.
And so the messaging has really been about learning to love you, but it's too fluffy. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it does
People don't buy love yourself.
no, they
They don't
don't.
buy it. I mean, they buy it for $100 for a course that they won't do, or a $20 for a book they won't read, right?
Right, right.
But you need to sell a tangible end result, because people project their issues, as you know, as a therapist, people project their issues on the outside, and so you have to sell an outside tangible end result
Yeah,
while giving them the inner work they need to do to have that, understanding that when they do this inner work, it's going to help them in every area of their life.
right.
But if you try to say, I'm going to teach you to love yourself so all the areas of your life get better, nobody's going to buy it.
Well, that's what I'm currently saying.
Yeah, I know. And so that's how you get out of it. You focus on one tangible end result and you speak the language of that buyer, whether it's the executive or whether it's for the company. I think you might want to do this for companies because your sales volume will be lower and your ticket price will be higher.
hmm
It will take you longer to get your first couple of sales in the door.
So to that end, you said direct outreach. Does that mean like I grew up, I'm going to tell my age here. I'm in my 50s, but when you look for a job when I was a kid, you walked in the door and you said, "Hi, I'm here to apply for a job."
Yeah,
Like that doesn't exist any longer. But
it does,
how do
but
I
it's
get in?
digital.
What's that?
It does, but it's digital.
So
What you have
like
to do is get these people on the phone. What you have to do is get these people into, you have to be in their DMs, you have to be in their email, but it's not you sending out some kind of broadcast email saying, hey, buy my shit. It's not that. It's you actually saying, hey, Eric, head of HR for this company. I read in the press that you were seeing that employee turnover was up, and I wanted to introduce you to something that I'm doing that's helping a lot of companies who are in your position. So you have to speak to them directly like that. It's like that's how it works. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They have this inner resistance to doing that. They want their marketing and selling to be easy. But what you have to understand is if you do that at the beginning, you can hand that off once you get your business up and running. You can generate what's called an appointment setter. who is a person who is responsible for doing that lead generation, setting up people for you to speak to in these companies full time once you have your first few contracts underway. But you have to start by doing it yourself.
Okay. And do you think that is that better to do on like a platform like LinkedIn, like some professional platforms, Instagram? Like if I had to pick a spot that if and I guess this is a broader question for anybody that's marketing to more like businesses, how
Uh-huh.
do you recommend starting to peel that
The way I
back?
started this business was on LinkedIn because I could identify who is a therapist, whereas on Facebook or Instagram, therapists do not want to be found for the most part. So I mean, I had to do that until I had the data to actually take it into other platforms.
Right.
But the way that I did it was through direct outreach on LinkedIn. I was putting useful content like this video up, and I was advertising it on LinkedIn, and I was making sure that people understood who it is and what who I am and what I do at the same time as increasing my network on LinkedIn and sending direct messages to people
Okay.
to start conversations. If you do that diligently,
Okay.
at first, you will question yourself. Oh, is this even going to work? I can't get meetings. Nobody's responding to me, these kinds of things. But it's like starting a train. And as the train starts moving and gathering speed, you suddenly find people are starting to actually respond to you. And they see your content and they see, and at the same time as receiving a direct outreach from you. And I wouldn't stop at LinkedIn. I would actually go to them on LinkedIn, find out who they are on LinkedIn, connect with them, direct message them there, put your content on LinkedIn and email them directly. I would
Okay.
do all of these things simultaneously to actually get their attention.
Okay. And I have started doing a little bit more with LinkedIn, and I've been consciously trying to grow that audience. So part of it is like, do you think I should kind of hone in on business owners, or should I kind of hone in on HR? Like
You're
if I
honing
have
in on the based on the size of the company. So a
okay,
company that's under 25 people, you're going for the owner.
okay,
And then at some time between 25 and 50 people, they're putting HR in place.
okay,
Sometimes HR is also the CFO when you have a smaller company. You see?
okay,
Then,
okay,
as you get into larger companies, there will be somebody within the HR department who is exclusively tasked
to
with
do this.
evaluating people like you.
Okay.
However, their demands for you would be you have to be ready. You have to know exactly what you're doing and rolling this out into the company. You're going to
Yeah.
get one shot at this to get it right.
Yeah.
And they may decide that they want you to support more people than is physically possible. So I would prefer to see you working in a smaller company, then taking a shot at the big contracts with the bigger company when you know you can get it absolutely right. When you've thought of how this is actually going to be introduced into the company, what's the best platform for this to be delivered on? You've worked out the kinks in the program, and you're also able to give back to the company some kind of measurement that they can actually see. Oh, this worked. You see, it could be a survey, it could be the type of results that people are getting. It could be weight loss. It could be general feelings on a set of scales that you're measuring. These kinds of things.
Okay.
So So that's what I would say. So, it's really you have to sort of put yourself in the place of developing, I think, a corporate approach to this to really make money with it. I think that's where you need to go. At the very least, focusing on professional people because it's the people who will pay to help them to perform at a high rate, or help their people to perform at a high rate, are the people who are going to buy this kind of program. People are not going to pay a premium rate for this program unless it's going to help them to achieve an objective that is worth more to them. You see?
Right.
So that's
And
what I
you
would
think that that objective is like speaking to the transformation of optimizing
go. Mm-hmm.
health.
Yeah, as well as optimizing the people, the performance of the people
Okay.
by optimizing their brains and bodies. That's what the
I
company
like the
wants. I want my people to perform. You see?
I like the brains and bodies because
Mhm.
that's just cute, and it's something you remember.
Exactly. Very good. Well, I want to hear about your first sale to a company.
Well, I'm going in a totally different direction because I really hadn't thought about this, and I really appreciate your input because I really wanted to get an idea because your specialty is the mental health,
Mhm.
and you know that generally speaking, we are a group of people that want to help people feel better.
Exactly.
And, how do you do that in a very crowded environment of people kind of all saying the same thing?
Well, you have to quantify the end result that you're selling and understand that the way you do that is going to sound narrower than everything you actually are able to give people, but it will sell better.
Yeah, I
Tell them
think
what
that's
they
what I.
want and give them what they need.
Oh, say that again.
Tell them what they want and give them what they need.
That's perfect.
You see? So you got to
Yes.
do.
Well,
Very
thank
good.
you
Well, this was
so
fun.
much. I appreciate it. My brain is spinning now. I've got a whole new idea to kind of work with.
Sure. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye for
All
now.
right. Bye-bye.